So as I grew up, I tend to identify more as a Christian than a Muslim. And it's based solely on the fact that I understand Christianity more. And I saw my mom, the way she loved me, like she loved me unconditionally.
Hello, our viewers. A very good evening to you all. I hope you're all doing well despite the hot heat wave. My name is Mable, your host as always. Thank you for joining us today. We're having a sofa conversation with Out and Proud, an African LGBTI organization. And in the studios today, we have a friend of ours. He's going to introduce himself, and we're going to be talking about relationships amongst the LGBTI plus Q family.
Yes, my name is Teslem Thomas. Originally from Sierra Leone, West Africa. I'm currently in Leeds, and I'm studying biomedical sciences.
Oh, that's amazing.
I identify as non-binary, but I'm trying to figure that out. So for now, I think I'll go with gay.
Well, that's a good introduction. Yes, about relationships. Being Out and Proud, a member of Out and Proud, I've had many stories and experiences because coming from the countries we come from, they're very homophobic and so on and so forth. So our relationships always tend to be in weird and sad situations with family, with friends, people around us. Yeah. And that also goes further to our workplaces and schools and everywhere. What is your take on this?
I think as a queer person, we have this, like you said, weird, these complicated relationships in general. Whether it's a relationship with our parents or our societies or God himself, or most importantly, a relationship with ourselves. There's a fine line between hate and love. So we tend to battle that each time with relationships with different people. And so because of some people lack relationships, so we force ourselves to be in one, even though it's going to hurt us. I mean, the slightest kindness is means a lot to us. So as queer people, we tend to put the bar so low, if I can say that. Like if someone should show us the slightest kindness, we think that's the world. Yeah. So our expectation when it comes to relationship is really, really low.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's quite understandable and relatable. You mentioned relationship with self. Could you add more to that?
I think growing up as a feminine boy, and in a country where masculine or men are supposed to act and dress in a different way, I grew up hating part of myself because I'm a guy with a big bottom, so to speak. And I remember when I was starting puberty, I had someone literally stop me in the middle of the road to ask if I was a boy or a girl because my voice was still soft and I looked just like a girl. And so I grew up hating parts of myself. I could say body dysphoria, hating myself because I don't look how a guy is supposed to look, which now I still don't. And I really, really love that part. I love my bottom. I love everything about me. But it took me a long time to get from the place where I hate everything about me, and now that I'm no, you're cute.
I could say that is an achievement on its own. Getting to accept yourself and loving yourself the way you are.
Yeah, and sometimes because of what we experience as kids, we tend to have this. Again, using the word complicated relationships with ourselves, where we expect so much for ourselves. We set ourselves so high to the point that it's hard to achieve what we want to achieve. We want to be this thing. We want to prove to the world that we're not what they think gay people are. So we sometimes set ourselves for failures. And when we don't get to achieve what we hope for, we tend to go back to being that little boy that once hated himself.
That could be so sad. And well, it does happen, sadly. It does happen. It could be a part of shame. Yeah. As you grow to identify yourself and who you are, or understand actually what you're experiencing and the transitions you're having as a person or as an LGBTIQ plus person, you were different physically.
Yeah.
And it did really have an effect on how you saw yourself and, well, how much you loved yourself, which you grew to come out of. How about your family?
My family are in a place, I don't think I understand where they are. Like, I talk to my family most of the time, and they do ignore the fact that I'm gay, and which sometimes seems demeaning to me. Like, that's part of me they don't want to accept, and I understand it's hard for them to accept that part, but I think they're focusing on the wrong thing. I, as a person, I'm not looking for acceptance. I'm just looking for the love I deserve because I am that part of that family. Yeah. So that's a word that people throw around all the time that gets me in a mood. Where I say I accept gay person. Like, no, you don't. For you to accept me, it means you're superior to me, and no one is. You might be privileged, but you're not better than me.
Definitely.
So no one gets to accept me, even in a church or at work or anything. You don't get to accept me. Or you don't even get to tolerate me.
You are who you are.
Yeah.
You've accepted yourself, so no one else needs to approve that.
No, yeah. So that's why my relationship with my family is kind of, I think it's in a safe place. We know what we want for each other, and we don't expect anything more or anything less.
Or it's more like you've set out boundaries on each side.
Yeah, boundaries more. I think the word here is understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, like they want what they want, and I want what I want. Sometimes we compromise, and sometimes I don't, because compromising is losing myself and becoming something that I don't want to be. So, and when it comes to situations where we can't compromise, we tend to fall apart for some time. and then make up. It comes back. Because the thing is, we're family either way.
Yeah.
And that is there. So no matter what, we keep coming back together. But it's not...
Yeah, and still on family, how did they did they ever show or ask any questions or show any kind of negativity towards the person you are, say as a child?
Yes, in the sense that they created a scenario or a situation where I have to be that person. I can't be anything else than that person. I feel like I was going to be
a
something.
Certain way.
Yeah. So anything other than that is a disappointment. And as a young child, you don't want to disappoint your family. Like, everything you want to do is for them. So I think that alone it wasn't something physical, like they beat me or something. I remember my cousins used to call me names or something. Like, and then it's surprising when later on they're like, "Oh, you're gay." I'm like, "Really? You used to call me feminine names or nicknames, yeah, slurs at home. What do you think that was?" Like, it shouldn't be a surprise to you that I am gay, but it is to them.
It is. Well, I guess they knew who you were before you actually knew it.
Yeah.
So do you have, like, maybe say a cousin, or we've been talking about family in general, maybe, and I think you are more referring to your parents or the elders in your family.
Yes.
Like, do you have like cousins or siblings or who, like, you know, who maybe understand you better? Or
I would say my sister, but she is unique.
Okay.
Like, I think that's really what that describes her. Like, she's hot and she's cold. Like, she can be fiery and very loving at the same time. I don't understand how someone can be that either. Yeah, but my sister is fine. I think that's the word I would describe her, because sometimes she's like, "Oh, you're fine." She doesn't actually accept, or like, I've said the word, "Oh, I know you're gay," and I accept it. It's just like, I see you. Okay,
yeah,
it's fine.
You're there.
Yeah. You're still my brother. And yeah, I remember she used to be very angry about the gay stuff, all this thing, thinking, "Oh, you've disappointed the family, you've this." And one day she called me, she was screaming over the phone, and I told her, like, "You can't speak to me like that. We are siblings, but you should know that there's a boundary." Like, you don't get to tell me what to do just because you're my sister, and you don't get to call me in my safe place and yell at me. So we have to, even if we don't have to agree in anything, but there should be respect in the way we discuss issue. Because of that, over the years, she tends to like, okay, if something happens, if my dad is disappointed, which is mostly all the time, she will call me and ask what happened. Like, what have you done? I'm like, literally, I haven't done anything. I'm just being myself, and that gets people angry. So over the years, she came to see, like, because I look so much like my mom. So whenever she looks at me, she's like, oh, I'm saying mommy. So she stopped yelling at me.
So people have, like you say, when you join Opal, you have met a family. That is a new family. You have met Opal, your family of choice.
Yes.
You have like 10 brothers, 10 sisters. You have all the uncles. You have the mamas, the sengas, the aunties. Yes. Because you stay mostly in Leeds, you're not a part of this community. But yes, you do have a family with Opal that is guaranteed they're not going anywhere. They don't want to understand you. They just want you to be you. They just want you to be happy and just, share smiles and joy with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how about in Leeds?
Oh, in Leeds. Yeah, I have a family in Leeds.
Yes.
Like a family of like this queer family, like, because as queer people, our relationships with our family is sometimes estranged. So we create this little cocoon wherein we develop relationship based on trauma. And so because we have shared experiences, we understand each other better, and we look at our flaws and see them as like our strength. So I remember the first time I moved to Bradford, God blessed me with a friend, Ivy, and she is my world, I could say that. She took me in. At the time, she was struggling as well, so she was in the same boat as me, and we just clicked and shared horrendous like things being done to us, or what we had to go through, or what we've lost because of we want to be our authentic self. And I think that bond was created, and she became my mother, my father, my sister, my friend, and my annoying neighbor. Seriously, she can be annoying. She really can be annoying. Like it's like I'm patient and she's not.
Oh yeah.
Like she's really fiery. She reminds me of my sister, and she can be soft and also fiery at the same time. Really, I don't understand why people are like that.
But those are the best people. You have to always keep one around.
Yeah, but then I'm sure of something that she will always have my back. Like there's nothing about me that will surprise her.
So, I didn't ask you about your religion. Are you Muslim or Christian or what's your religion?
Yeah. Well, my dad is a Muslim.
Oh.
And my mom was a Christian.
Okay.
So on top of the turmoil of being gay, I grew up also in a household where we have two religions, like battling each other.
Oh, days.
Lovingly, of course. Well, lovingly in quotes. So as I grew up, I tend to identify more as a Christian than a Muslim. And it's based solely on the fact that I understand Christianity more. And I saw my mom, the way she loved me. Like she loved me unconditionally. And there was nothing I did or anything that I could do that would make her love me anymore. Which is what the Bible is saying about God's love for us. Like God loves us unconditionally. Like we cannot do anything that would change that love. And I saw that through my mom. And as I was reading the Bible, because as I was growing up, I actually didn't believe in God. I was like, if God created me this way and hates me, then I don't want to be anywhere around God. But I saw the way my mom loved me, and I was like, maybe her God is like that. So I tend to follow that path, and I get to read in the Bible all the time and really understand it. And now I'm like, okay, not that it's anyway different from being a Muslim, but
It's what you believe.
Yeah.
Still on that, So what is your relationship, you being a gay man? Because there's a lot that goes on with all the religious, say, pastors and also the congregations as well. Like, say, for where I come from and part of my community back home, there is no way you can be a lesbian and be Christian. Because according to them, the way they read the Bible, their Bible, it says being lesbian, being gay is a sin. It's evil. You're satanic. I believe because you're from an African background, I believe you've heard these things before because it's taught and preached everywhere.
Oh, yes. I mean...
So what is your relationship when it comes to that aspect? What is your relationship with your God?
Oh, okay. I have this relationship with God that is unique. And I'm using the word unique a lot. But it is because I love God so much. I got to a point where I think this happened in 2018, wherein I've fallen down so low, like in life, like there was no way I could sink any lower, literally, where I was in 2018. So, but something kept playing in my head where they're like, God hates you, God hates you, God hates you. I'm like, you know what? Let me read this Bible myself and understand it and see like if this God really hates me because I have the time and I'm not going anywhere. So I read the Bible and it kept speaking to me, and I'm like, this is not like everything I've been told about God is a lie. God doesn't hate you. Like everything he has ever done was for you. I mean, he created you in the beginning and put you in the Garden of Eden. And then we sinned in the Garden of Eden. And then with so much love, because there's also the tree of life in the garden. And God used to commune with man in the Garden of Eden. I mean, so after the sinning, God took us out because he doesn't want us to stay in that state of sinning. Because once we ate the apple, we noticed we're naked. And God was asking, who told you you're naked? I created you. Before I formed you, I knew you. So who told you you're naked? So God created all these avenues, gave us the book of Leviticus, and brought his son Jesus just to die for us, just to bring us back to him. Like there's nothing God would not do to bring his children back to him. So God doesn't hate me. In fact, that's the opposite. God adores me.
He does.
The problem is whether or not I love him. It's never like no one. I will never question God's love for me. There's nowhere I can go that God will not reach me. So I got that understanding from reading the Bible. Also, where it said we are no longer under the law, and we are made righteous by faith or something. I mean, this is a man who laid his son's life just for me, and he said, "Come boldly into the throne of mercy." Everyone, not just people that go to church. Literally everyone. So God doesn't hate me, and I saw that. I'm like, you created me and you're sovereign. That means you had my plan in your hand. You've seen every mistake I'm going to ever make. And you still called me. And I'm still alive.
All you have to do is to love yourself.
Yeah.
Because God, the God we serve, the God we know, loves us. It doesn't matter what color you are, how you identify yourself. He created you in his image. You're his child. He loves you. That is a strong message, and I think we'll have to talk more about this because people have a lot of issues because of what we're being told as children growing up, and our religion, and our beliefs as well, and the communities as well. Yeah. And well, people, I guess they just pick out what they want to pick out from the Bible. Because we're discussing relationships. We spoke about family relationships. We spoke about self relationships and families of choice, and then God. And we should not forget, I should say, rejection.
Oh, yes.
Because with relationship comes rejection, which is something the LGBTIQ plus people face, not only from African backgrounds, but also I think it's a worldwide thing. As much as we think the Western world does approve of the LGBTIQ people, yes, there are laws, and maybe they've been more informed about the LGBTIQ plus community for many years, which is not happening in our countries. But there's still those people who are homophobic. we're going to meet them. We're meeting them in school and our workplaces, and in our communities, and sadly, even among the LGBTIQ plus community. Yeah, which is really very sad, I should say. What's your take on this?
Let's start with within the LGBT community. I mean, we have this system wherein hurt people, like people that are already hurting, tend to hurt others.
Yeah.
So because LGBT people, we grew up in a society where there's so much hate, that's all we know. So we tend to hate on ourselves. If I'm a gay man, you're a lesbian, I have this stereotype of you that I don't like. Oh, both of us, we don't like the trans people. They're weird. They're this. So we tend to feel like we are better in some way or shape or form. Because we've been told since the day we were born, or since the day we found out we're gay or out, that we're not worth anything. So we tend to find worth in ourselves. We tend to create a persona to create worth for ourselves. So
tell our viewers and me, I'm also a bit curious. Where do you see yourself, say 5-10 years to come, relationship-wise? Because relationship, not only with yourself. I think we've heard a bit about that, but we're talking about family and, and a partner.
Yeah, I think 10 years. In 10 years' time, I would love to see myself married to the cutest guy ever, and with, let me say, a 10-year-old kid, 10-year-old child or something. Like my child will be turning 10 years in 10 years.
In 10 years?
So technically, by the end of this year, I should be married and have a baby.
Oh, wow.
By next year. So, yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to take a long time.
I'm not so good with the maths, so I'm just I'm a bit confused and lost there. Okay. So by the end of this year, we're in August. So you would like to be married with a child?
Not married with a child.
Oh.
Married and then have a child. I'm old-fashioned. Like my parents raised me right.
Okay.
To some points. So, yeah. You married first and have the child. But, queer people can have children in different ways.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
I can adopt a 2 or 3 year old child and.
Okay. You don't want to go through
babies? Oh, I love babies. If I can have one right now, I'll be so happy. I will actually take the baby over the husband.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. Well, I think that's it. Relationships are more like that, dreaming and hoping, and they do have their ups and downs, but I believe that love is always, if it doesn't hurt you, I believe it can protect you and, make you someone better, put you to your better self. Yeah. So, I'm hoping for that. And yes, we are one Opal family. I'm definitely sure I'll be there for that bridal shower and that baby shower and that baptism and and that big wedding. Is it going to be big?
Yeah, huge. I mean, we're
definitely
not allowed to get married.
It's Teslems.
I mean, I've planned it already in my head. I know everything that's going to happen, what they're going to wear. The only thing missing is the husband. But
everything else is sorted.
Everything else is sorted.
So, guys, you've heard that, Maybe the husband is watching you right now.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, our viewers, that was our sofa conversation with Teslem.
Yeah.
That name is so unique. It's slipping off my tongue.
Yeah.
Yes. It was really a lovely conversation. You've heard from him. Well, we've discussed a lot about self-love, families of choice, and our love with God and our relationships with God, rejection and love. And I believe you've learned from what we've shared here. And sorry about that. Our platform is open. You can always like and share, subscribe, contact us, and then join and have these conversations with us. Ask your questions. If you have them, they will be answered. We're going to be saying goodbye to you for this Friday Sofa Conversation. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
It has been, and a pleasure is all mine.
And I love weddings, we can plan together. I'll have to have a look at that plan. Maybe there's something that needs to be adjusting or added.
The outfit, yes, but everything else is fine.
All right then, okay. Well then, it's been so lovely having you guys. Hope you like our podcast. Like and share with us. Don't forget to subscribe. Yes, thank you for staying with us. Bye-bye. Have a lovely weekend.